Hello and welcome to day one of our 3-day mini course on how to make an impact and income as a holistic divorce coach. And first of all, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for accepting this invitation to find out a little bit more about the holistic divorce coaching world and the online business in general. So I'm gonna guess that because you're here, you are probably at a point in your life where you're thinking about pivoting, you are curious about another career path, or you may have just had enough with the job or the career that you're in, and you've been hearing about the online world and coaching and business, and you wanna learn a little bit more. So in the next 3 days, I'm going to share my journey, the journey of some of our students, and where I am right now with the Holistic Divorce Institute, at a place where we're building an army of holistic divorce coaches, and I believe that you could be one of them. So I just want to make sure that during these 3 days, I get really clear and specific about what a holistic divorce coach is and isn't, and if that resonates with you, that you join us for our certification. So without further ado, I'm going to start by telling you my story about how I ended up starting Divorce for Love, and right after I founded the Holistic Divorce Institute. And before that, in my previous lifetimes, I have done so many things. I have a degree in environmental science and a master's in sustainable tourism, yet I moved to America, to Hawaii, Maui, and I opened our first restaurant, my ex-husband and I. We owned that restaurant for 12 years. We opened 2 other locations in West Hampton Beach in New York. And when our marriage was reaching its completion, that sent me into my own divorce journey, which originated my whole love affair with coaching and then with holistic divorce coaching. But as that business our marriage was being completed, we decided to complete that business empire too. So we sold the restaurants and we moved into vacation rentals. So I ended up having 3 vacation rentals, like a bed and breakfast in Hawaii, Maui. And that was so amazing. Because imagine, I went from restaurant owner of 3 restaurants in 2 opposite states, having kids at the same time. So we decided to have our first child as we were opening our second location in the Hamptons. And then by the time our daughter came into the picture, we had the 3 restaurants. And to be honest, I was running most of the operations. So I was working so many hours. Very often it was very physical labor, because if somebody didn't show up to work, I'll have to step in and find someone to do it, and if nobody could come, then I'll have to fill in. And it was a lot of work, a lot of really hard work. And funny enough, the restaurant business is supposed to be one of the most unsuccessful businesses to be in. Well, we did manage to make money. We were financially very successful. And even when we sold them, it was a really good financial investment that truly paid off. But it came at a cost. And it was that, yes, we were bringing in 7-figure business. Like we said that we will sell when we reached the $1 million in revenue, and we didn't sell until we were 1.4, because once you start making money, things accelerate really quickly. Plenty of money coming in, a lot of dissatisfaction in my personal life. It was exhausting. I, to this day, don't like managing big groups of people, especially people in the service industry that don't necessarily want to be there, especially when you live in Maui. They didn't want to show up for the shifts. So I was in a lot of stress and in a lot of just dissatisfaction. It wasn't what I wanted to do. So when we moved into the vacation rentals, that was a lot less work, a lot happier clientele, and you had to deal with a lot less people and make the same profit. So as my career progressed, and then like I said, I had my divorce, and that was the first time that I hired my own life coach. And that to me was a pivotal moment where I went ahead with the divorce that was very needed, that I wanted to do, but I had just been in the limbo of divorce for 3 years, going back and forth with my thoughts, with society, with everything. And it wasn't until I hired my life coach that she put systems into place, and she helped me organize all the stories in my mind and get rid of the ones that didn't serve me. So that was the pivotal point where my life kind of took another direction, and it was the direction where I left my whole identity behind, because when you get a divorce, you get a chance to reinvent yourself. And I went deep into the personal growth space, and I wanted to learn everything, became a coach, and I became a life coach, a general life coach, which is the first thing that I want to let you know about. Coaching, incredibly lucrative, but you have to choose a specific area, because if you just go into general life coaching, you're going to have a really hard time selling it to people. People come to coaches when they have a problem, and you can really come to someone and say, my entire life is a problem. Like, people will feel pain points and then associate them with the solution. So, oh, I'm overweight, I'll get a fitness coach. Oh, I can't handle my emotions, I'll get a psychologist or an emotional coach. So it was very important that as I started practicing life coaching, I wanted to specialize in the process that I had gone through. And I also felt that will make acquiring clients a lot easier. And that's exactly what happened. But in order to become a divorce coach, I took a certification, and in my opinion, it was good, but it was very basic. Like, I had to then learn so much as I worked with my clients to ensure that their coaching that they were receiving was appropriate for that very specific transition in their life. And I remember feeling like, I don't want other people to be coaching people through their divorce just from the life coaching perspective. I want them to really understand the process and the emotions and the energies of a type of divorce that is very, like the word says, very holistic, takes into account all the factors. And I felt that certification that was the only one available at the time wasn't enough. So I wanted to create my own certification based on the methodology that I had put down on my book, The Holistic Divorce, where I give like a 10-step process to arrive to a low conflict holistic divorce that will not leave you traumatized. So when I started coaching people, like I said, it was very, very hard to sell them on a general concept. When I went into divorce coaching, it was so much easier. They had a problem, they had no idea how to solve it, and here was an innovative new way of doing it. That was the first pivot that I did that was really successful. So if you want to become an influencer, an authority, top dog on an industry, you have to find a new industry that is needed. And that to me is niching down. Is you have to go into not just life coaching, but life coaching specific for one pain point. I'm having financial trouble, get a financial coach. I don't know how to get my business off the ground, get a business coach. I'm about to go through a divorce and I don't just want to do the lawyer option. That sounds horrendous to me, and I want to have a low conflict divorce, holistic divorce coach. So for me, if I were to start all over again, I will say definitely be trained. And you may think like, well, of course you have to be trained. Well, if you're really new to this whole online coaching business, you may not know that the coaching industry is very loosely regulated. And by that, I mean that you don't have to be certified in order to operate and charge clients as a coach in pretty much any modality, nutritional, physical, whatever you say, they don't really need, nobody, coaches are not required, like therapists are, or lawyers are. We're not required to have a certification. Now, let me be fully transparent. I think that's a good and a bad thing. I think it's a good thing because there are some incredibly talented individuals that are natural born coaches that they somehow have downloaded the tools directly from source, and they can be incredible coaches. And I'm so happy that they were able to just call themselves a coach and start offering their services because the world really needed them. Having said that, there's a lot of people who think they're really amazing coaches, but they're not. And they need that training. They need that framework to keep them structured. Otherwise, you go to their coaching calls and it's all very like fluffy, very ethereal. There's no real transformation. So my first advice will be definitely get certified, but get certified already on a niche, because there are all sorts of certifications, okay? So there is the ones that are months. You stay in a program for almost between 6 months and to a year. And you learn everything. You learn the history of coaching, the main schools of thought, and then you go into learning every single tool possible in the toolbox for coaches. And then you get to practice for a long time. You do a lot of implementation calls. There are those programs. There are the programs that are like 5 days and you're certified as a life coach. For me, I believe that the in-between is the most beautiful part. I don't want a super fast and furious 5-day program, because I don't think that you have time to integrate the lessons from one day to the next. Therefore, you're not getting the embodiment part, which is what is most needed for a coach. I don't believe in the super long processes, because I think that you lose steam. There's way too much space. It's just too long. People want to start practicing right away and they want to start making money. Let's be honest, a year of studying is a long time before you can call yourself a life coach or a fill-in-the-blank coach. And also, I don't believe that it's necessary to make it so long, because then you may start taking a lot of habits that are going to slow you down. So if you think that it takes you a year to get certified, you may think that it's going to take you 6 months to launch, when in reality you can launch in 2 weeks. But because you've started your career going with a super long stretch out approach, then that's how you may approach your business as you create your business plan. So for me, the in-between is the sweet spot, and that will be from 6 to 12 weeks. That's why the certification that we created is 10 weeks with 2 implementation calls. I'm not gonna get ahead of the game, because I will be telling you more about the program in a later video, but I'm just trying to let you know that if you are looking into changing your career, into getting into the online world, I applaud you. I think that this is the best time in history to get into the online world. And I also ask you to do your homework and ask the questions and sit down and think, what will work best for me? Because what I'm giving you is just the pointers, and is the, hey, think about this. Are you more into a 5-day program, into a 10-week program, or into a year-long program? So when you start looking at all your options, you're clear on, this is what I want to do. This is the subject matter that I want to get into. Which is the other part that I wanted to talk to you about, which is, it's not just about the income, which, we're not gonna lie, it's amazing. And to have a lifestyle that gives you freedom to choose how much money you wanna make in this much or that much or that much. I think it's incredible. But there is the other half of the equation that is just as important, and is the impact. For me, working on a subject and helping people on one of their most difficult transitions in life is such an honor. It's the kind of satisfaction that, I don't know, someone saving lives may feel, like a firefighter or a rescuer. Like, it has to be, it's such a kind of feeling of mission accomplished. You know how we are looking for our purpose and we're all going like, what can I do to help people? Well, this is it for me, because I feel like when people are going through divorce, they have so, let's just plain English, they have a shitstorm to go through. And most people just kind of walk away from them and go like, I don't really want to walk this with you. This is going to be too nasty. And I just love that myself and my students who are now certified coaches, we know that we can walk through that storm with them and make it okay, and ensure that they're gonna make it to the other side and their lives are gonna be changed for the better. Having testimonials where I receive videos where they are telling me, I couldn't have done it without you, and Olga, you were there for my darkest times, and if it wasn't for you, there were moments that were really, really hard, and I had nowhere to go and I had no one to speak to, and if you hadn't been there, I don't know what I would have done. So for me, hearing all that and knowing that I am getting that kind of reward without having to do more work like when I was doing at the very beginning of my life with the restaurant businesses. Knowing that I get to choose where I live, like up until recently, I lived in Hawaii. We decided to give Scottsdale in Arizona a try, so we're gonna be here for a year, and then decided we wanna stay longer, we wanna go back to Hawaii, or go to our house in Costa Rica that we're building. Knowing that we get to choose, like I just chose the whole of summer, I was off social media, I was off taking calls, I was just focused on my children and the clients that I had booked before I went on holiday. I completed the sessions with them, and then I was able to focus on my family, to go on a road trip with them for 10 days and not have to open my laptop once. So for me, that's the beauty of creating income and impact. And I don't believe that you can do that so easily when you're in a generalized kind of industry like life coaching is. And I think that if you are considering this is the time to get into this economy, which is what we call the creators economy, which, by the way, we're at a point in history where we are being asked which kind of economy we want to fall into. The world is changing so rapidly. Like from here to 2030, we're not going to recognize the world one bit. And we have to understand that there's going to be a huge amount of jobs that are going to be created in the creators economy, which is when you sell your content, your ideas, your insights, your intellect, or part of the laborers economy, which is the one where you trade your time for dollars. And it goes in a kind of a graph where, yeah, you may be getting a few more dollars per year, but the cost of living is so much higher that you're actually almost going down. You're gonna have to choose which economy do you wanna live in. Do you wanna create your income? Or do you want to have an income that depends on one other person, your boss, that company, to keep you stable? If you're looking into the online world, you're making that choice and you're going, I'm going to go with the creators economy. And in this economy, you do not have to trade dollars per hour. Sure, you will probably start your career, like most of our certified students, doing one-on-one coaching. That's how you get better. That's how you get your first testimonials. That's how you get over your imposter syndrome that everybody feels. And then after that, you can start applying all your knowledge to creating online packages, to creating books, to creating courses, to creating groups, retreats. At this point, you start exchanging products for dollars, not hours for dollars. So you may spend 20 hours in creating one single product that when you turn it into sales, is gonna be way more than what you would have paid on a one-on-one for 20 hours, or even worse, what you would have been paid if you work for someone else for 20 hours. So the math works. Oh, that's another fact that I wanted to share. Tony Robbins and Dean Grazioso are now launching a new program, and they keep saying that the coaching industry has gone from just being $100 million a few years ago to being $1 billion industry. Just over the pandemic, it was like crazy. It was like 3 years ago. And now it's in the billions, and it's gonna keep on going in that direction. The education, the coaching, the one-on-one, the approach that can be substituted by AI or algorithms or being outsourced anywhere else. That is the kind of value that the creators economy is gonna pay top dollar for. So I'm gonna leave you with that, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 2 of our 3-day mini course on how to make impact and an income as a holistic divorce coach.